Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gerke Field here in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. I am Brett Christopherson with USA Today Network Wisconsin, hanging out another Friday night here as summer transitions into fall. It's my colleague Ricardo Arguello, and 56-36, Appleton North hangs on to beat SPASH in a wild one. Valley Football Association game, Week 4. Appleton North improves to 2-2, keeps itself in the playoff hunt. SPASH falls to 0-4, and now it's looking like it's going to be definitely an uphill climb for the Panthers to make it back to postseason play. But Ricardo, your thoughts? This was a wild game to say the least. We saw explosive plays. We saw interception returns for scores from both sides. We saw fumbles. I think a combined 5 turnovers in this game. Teams using the turnover to turn those into touchdowns. I mean, it had a little bit of everything, but your takeaways from this one. I know we got to do your 5 takeaways
Yeah,
tonight
well,
too.
the thing that comes foremost to my mind for Appleton North is that they stayed alive. You know, you go down. I mean, they came in at 1-3. If you go in 1-4, I'm sorry, they were 1-2,
1 and 2,
right?
yep.
And if you go in 1-3, then you're talking about darn near panic mode. But getting the big win here, first off, gives them a shot of momentum. It gives them a shot of confidence. You know, I mean, this is yes, okay. So Spash is hadn't won a game, but look at the teams that are playing. This is a very good team, despite what their record says. And for Appleton North, it's all about building on this now because believe me, there was enough mistakes made by the Lightning tonight, where Coach Salm can sit down as players and say, look, don't get too full of yourselves. You guys got a big win, but now you got to build on this because you look at who you have coming down the docket. Kind of recent in what short order you're going to have. Another big matchup with Kimberly coming down the line here. So it's good news, bad news, I guess, for Appleton. The good news is that everything, you're 2-2 now. You're going in the right direction. Now it's a matter of building on this and keeping those mistakes to a minimum because they're a good team, but they're not a good enough team to overcome that kind of stuff, right?
We saw Stevens Point 3 Appleton North turnovers. They turned those into 3 touchdowns. Remarkable to first of all see Appleton North really the ball security issues with the fumbles and the interceptions, but you don't usually see that too much with an Appleton North team. So I would agree, definitely some things to clean up for sure. But Carter Robinson, man, I mean, coming up with some big plays down the stretch, especially with his legs.
Exactly, and that made up. He made some mistakes too, and I say this because I know Carter, and I know he's a proud kid, and he doesn't like making those kind of mistakes. But then again, you're kind of seeing that as well. A good performance from Carter, but he can be better. You got to limit those mistakes and putting your team in bad positions there a little bit. Man, he showed off the wheels.
Ooh,
you know,
he
we
can move,
know he's
can
a
he?
good. You know he's a good arm, but he's a good sprinter.
Yeah,
and
he can fly.
I thought he finished strong, and that's what you need from your quarterback. Is okay. I made the mistakes, but I can come back, get the big 51-yard touchdown or 50 or 51-yard touchdown run.
51 yards.
And then another touchdown run there towards
4 yards
to kind of cap it. So hey, look, this is what it's all about for Appleton North. Is you got to build on this. You got to listen to Coach Salm, try to break down and eliminate those mental mistakes because that's what's going to kill you. If you keep making those, you can't do that against Kimberly, who is just going to take advantage of those and really kind of walk away with those wins.
Yeah, Appleton North, Kimberly, that's coming up Week 7 at Paulding Field, a game that will stream, I think that's, I guess later on in September. Is that towards the end of September, I want to say? Maybe September 28th. So we're not too far away from that big showdown in the Valley Football Association. What I like about Appleton North, too, is talent at the skill positions. We mentioned Carter Robinson, the quarterback, but Ian Latch, Patrick Watson. You've got the receivers, Brooks Ambrosius and Kyle Hammond as targets for Carter Robinson. There are pieces here that if they take care of the football and shore some things up defensively, they give up some stuff, some big chunk plays to SPASH. They can be a tough out, and they can be a team that can make a run like they did last year when they went all the way to the state semifinals.
And if we want to switch over to SPASH, by the way, first off, I know they're 0-4, but if you look at the
that's a good 0-4 team.
Yeah, if you look at their schedule, that is an incredible schedule that they have played. You're talking about losses to Neenah.
Well, week one,
Hudson, that's what it was.
Neenah in week 1, Hudson week 2, Kimberly week 3, now Appleton North week 4, and those first 3 teams are all ranked in the top 8 in this week's coaches poll by Sports.net.
Exactly. And then you look at Neenah, who their only 2 losses were, to Neenah or not Neenah, Appleton North, where their 2 losses were to Neenah and Fond du Lac.
Yeah.
So
rugged schedule.
I say this because they're going to take on Marshfield, and then you look at the difference in schedule. not to make light of anything Marshfield's done. I know they're undefeated. They just beat Kakana on a last-second field goal to go to 4-0. But I have no doubt in my mind SPASH is going to go in there and they're going to beat Marshfield, okay? Because if you look at the strength of schedule, it's not even close. Marshfield's 4-0, but they've beaten like Appleton West, teams that have really
hung on to beat Kakana tonight.
Yeah, hung on. I mean, teams that they're not very good this year in terms of the teams that they've been playing. So that's what I'm looking at. This is actually that's an interesting game we're going to watch next week, or actually pay attention to, because I'm very curious to see how SPASH handles this. Because I'm telling you, that team is a lot better than an 0-4 record that they're showing, because they took Appleton North. I mean, I think they tied it, or it was close to being a tied game at one point. And my goodness, I mean, it's unfortunate how kind of like when it rains, it pours for SPASH, making mistakes. The same thing with them, Appleton North. They're a talented team. You can't make those kind of mistakes, Brett.
Last thing before we switch to your other takeaways, but let's give a shout-out to SPASH running back Jack Kelly.
Oh, boy, I love this kid.
What a warrior that kid was.
I mean, put him on my team. I mean, this kid is a bulldozer. He has outstanding feet for a big kid. I mean, he's 6'2", 230, I think what his dimensions were. And I was just laughing because of how he was so nimble getting through some of that trash,
Like a little dancer out there.
Yeah, and then he just bulldozes forward. He's dragging guys. It's like a video game, man.
And then playing through an injury there, so it looked like maybe his right shin or something. He was pretty banged up, but
SPASH always has good running backs, it seems.
Colton Kajeski in recent years, and now Jack Kelly, along with some targets too. Who was it that I wanted to shout out? Or give a shout out to?
Was it the King?
Mason King. You got Travis Johnson.
Oh,
Michael Vang,
plays,
Brett Ayers is the quarterback, so they've definitely got some pieces too out there. So we'll see. Maybe SPASH can get on a little bit of a run and get itself back in the playoffs.
No room for error though.
No.
I mean, now you gotta run it. You gotta run the table.
All right, quickly, you got 4 other takeaways before we sign off. What are they, Ricardo?
Okay, first off, Little Shoot. Okay, so Little Shoot faced Marinette. That was a game that maybe we were considering to cover. Marinette comes in. They're feeling pretty good about themselves, but Little Shoot. Look, I picked them to win the NEC, and I'm always smiling every time they win, and they make me look smart. But there's a reason why I picked them, Brett, and you know this team as well. That team, when they have everything clicking, they're hard to stop offensively, and it starts at the quarterback position with Miller, who is making that transition to being a quarterback. Yeah. That athlete at that position, that changes everything about that team. They are so dangerous. Yeah,
he's got some wheels too. So if he got him out on the run, he's got sprinter speed as well. Plus 2 really good running backs, as we've talked about before. And Bryce Schumacher, Isaac Van Derzen, some good receivers, and Jacob Lilge, Adam Hippus. A big win over Marinette, and the schedule is very favorable for Little Shoot until that Week 9 showdown that we're anticipating.
We can't wait.
We're begging and pleading. That's 2 8-0 teams going for the Northeastern Conference Championship. What else you got?
West Appear and Menasha. I say this because both won today. And you talked about it during the live stream about the cream kind of rising to the top there in the Bay, and it always seems to be Menasha West Appear. Those two teams are also on a collision course. Unfortunately, it's the same game, same week as Appleton North and Kimberly, but those two teams are looking to be the clear favorites in the Bay. Again, I'm still some question marks from both teams. I knew a little bit better after Menasha after the big win over Xavier, but now Xavier gets smoked by Seymour. It's tough to call when you're looking at those two teams, but the way you look at it, those two teams are going to be vying for that championship. That game, again, I think the same week as Kimberly Appleton North is going to decide who's going to win that conference.
Takeaway number 4. Something tells me you want to talk about Bob Highland's crew down in Fond du Lac. St. Mary's Springs. What are they doing?
Yeah, first off, they're not allowing any points. They've outscored their 4 opponents 148-0.
Wow.
They got the big win, and look at who they've played. Cedar Grove, Belgium was in the D5 title game last year. They just blasted Amherst in Week 2, the Division 5 state champion. And they just whipped up on Kingsford, who was playing Fond du Lac, and they actually only fell to Menasha 14-7. They destroyed Kingsford. So I mean, St. Mary's Springs, not your typical Division 6 team, Brett. Well, you have seen them up close. That team is scary good for D6, D5. Yeah. I can't see anyone beating that team.
Maybe Iola Scandinavia could give them a battle in D6, but D5, no. And then anybody else in D6. The Ledgers are super impressive, and you got to go watch them play if you can. Last but not least, what do you got?
Neenah, because they played yesterday. They in a Thursday night game. They went to Rapids and beat Rapids. And we had them on our varsity roundtable, Logan Iden and Logan Morrow. And this is a team, Brett, that has been slowly taking the steps. They got the big win over Appleton North. When we were talking to those two kids, they couldn't wait to play number 1 Fond du Lac, and then they can't wait to play Kimberly. Both those games are coming up for them, but they are building something very special there at Neenah. The Rockets want to be known as one of those upper-tier teams. Their chances are coming in the next couple of weeks, Brett, but they have been off to a fast start, and they've been doing it with a good defense and a developing offense, again, that has some playmakers that no one talks about. We saw Morrow, their receiver. He's 6'5".
Big kid.
So, they got a lot of good players there at Neenah. They're waiting to take that next step. I can't wait to see how they develop as the season goes on.
Let me say it. ROCKETS, Neenah Rockets, NHS, right?
There you go.
All right, so that's it. That's Ricardo's 5 takeaways. And, again, the final here tonight, 56-36. This is a wild one. Appleton North outlast the SPASH Panthers here at Gerke Field in Stevens Point. So for Rosie, who's busy putting everything away, Ricardo, and everybody back at our crew with USA Today Network Wisconsin, I'm Brett Christopherson saying so long. Now, next week, tentative, the varsity game of the week right now is Kimberly versus Appleton West at Papermaker Stadium. However, we do reserve the right to maybe change some things up. So we're going to see what else is looking good in Week 5 and maybe make an executive decision and try something else. But in the meantime, you can go to facebook.com/varsity roundtable at PCBrettsy at PC Ricardo. So again, for Rosie, Ricardo, I'm Brett. We'll see you later. Have a great week.